The next topic, that is ordinal utility analysis. Ordinal utility analysis. There exists a criticism against cardinal utility analysis. In ordinary life, the consumers, they are not measuring utility by using numbers. They are only ranking it. So here in this ordinal utility analysis, we are ranking the preferences of the consumers. Then we can use one diagram for representing the preferences. For example, we can take two goods, that is banana and mangoes. And here we can select different bundles. We can take first bundle, that is 1 units of banana and 15 units of mangoes. Or we can select 2 units of banana and 12 units of mangoes. Here we can see in this table. And we can take 3 units of bananas and 10 units of mangoes. Or we can select 4 units of banana and 9 units of mangoes. If we are plotting this point, that is 115, 212, 310 and 49 in a diagram, we will get a curve. In this diagram, we are representing commodity 1, that is banana on x-axis and commodity 2 on y-axis. If we are plotting these combinations in this diagram, we will get a curve. That curve is known as indifference curve. Then what is indifference curve? Indifference curve is a curve which represents locus of points of combinations of two goods which give same level of satisfaction to the consumer. We discussed here. Here we are not measuring utility, we are ranking it. Here we can see different bundles, and if we are plotting these bundles on a diagram, we will get a curve. That curve is known as indifference curve. Then what this indifference curve represents? This indifference curve represents points or bundles which give same level of satisfaction to the consumer. Then indifference curve is a curve which represents locus of points of combinations of two goods which represents same level of satisfaction. From 1 unit of banana and 15 units of mangoes, he will get a level of satisfaction. He will get that same level of satisfaction from 2 units of banana and 12 units of mangoes. Or he will get same level of satisfaction from 3 units of bananas and 10 units of mangoes. Here indifference curve represents these bundles or points which give same level of satisfaction to the consumer. Then from here, from this diagram, we can see when he is using more units of banana, he wants to forego some units of mangoes. That means here in first case, when he is using 2 units of banana, or if he is increasing the consumption of banana from 1 to 2, at that time the consumption of mangoes decreasing from 15 to 12. That means he wants to forego 3 units of mangoes for 1 unit of banana. In the second case, we can see when he is using 1 more unit of banana, that is from 2 units of bananas to 3 units of bananas. At that time, he want to forgive 2 units of mangoes. That means consumption of mangoes decreasing from 12 to 10. Like that, here we can see when one consumer is using more unit of bananas, he want to forego units of mango. That means marginal rate of substitution. Then what is marginal rate of substitution? The units of second commodity we want to forego for adding one more unit of the first commodity. Or here, units of mangoes we want to forego for adding one more unit of banana. That is known as marginal rate of substitution. Here, in this table we can see marginal rate of substitution, that is decreasing. Here we can see in the first case, there we can see the changes or substitution. That is why we are not considering marginal rate of substitution. In the second case we can see for adding one more unit of banana, we want to forego 3 units of mangoes. So here marginal rate of substitution, that is 3:1. In the second case we can see marginal rate of substitution is 2. Here marginal rate of substitution is 2:1. Third case we can see while adding one more unit of banana, we want to forgive 1 unit of mango. Then marginal rate of substitution 1:1. Then what we can see here, when one consumer is adding more and more units of a commodity for another one, marginal rate of substitution decreasing. This law is known as diminishing marginal rate of substitution. And what is marginal rate of substitution, or what is diminishing marginal rate of substitution? When one consumer is adding more and more units of a commodity for another one, the marginal rate of substitution decreasing. Okay. Then here we can see the diagram also. Here we can see different combinations. In this diagram we are representing commodity 1, that is banana 1 x-axis, and a commodity 2, that is mangoes on the y-axis. Here we can see the combinations, that is 115, 212, 310 and 49. These are the combinations of bananas and mangoes. If we are plotting this point in this diagram, and if we are drawing a curve, that curve is known as indifference curve. Then indifference curve is a curve which represents locus of points of combinations of two goods which give same level of satisfaction to the consumer. Here slope of the indifference curve is negative. Why? This is due to diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Then we can calculate marginal rate of substitution by using an equation. MRS is equal to delta y by delta x. Then what is delta y? Change in the consumption of second commodity. Then what is delta x here? Change in the consumption of first commodity. In this table we can see when consumption of bananas increasing from 2 to 3 units, we want to forego units of mangoes, that is from 12 to 10. Here we can calculate marginal rate of substitution. Then what is marginal rate of substitution? Delta y by delta x. Here y is mangoes and x is banana. What is the change in x? That is delta x, 1. What is the change in y? That is delta y, 2. Then MRS is equal to delta y by delta x. 2 by 1 we will get 2, or 2 is to 1. Like this we can calculate marginal rate of substitution. Then we want to discuss here monotonic preference. Then what is monotonic preference? A consumer's preferences are monotonic if and only if between any two bundles the consumer prefers the bundle which has more of at least one of the goods and no less of the another good. That means from bundles consumer should get more units of a commodity, not less the another one. For example, we can take two bundles, 2, 3 and 2, 5. 2 units of bananas and 3 units of mangoes, first bundle. Second bundle, that is 2 units of bananas and 5 units of mangoes. If consumer is monotonic, he will select the second bundle, that is 2, 5. Why? He should get one commodity more, no less the another one, or not less the another one. That type of consumer's preference is known as monotonic preference. Then we want to discuss indifference curve for perfect substitutes. Then what is substitutes? In the case of substitutes, we can use one commodity for another. Or in the case of substitutes, when price of one commodity increases, the demand for another commodity also will increase. Here we can explain this with the help of this diagram. Here in this diagram we can see different combinations like 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 6 and 4, 5. Then here we can see when the consumer is increasing 1 unit of banana, he wants to forgo 1 unit of mango. Here marginal rate of substitution is 1, and in each case, second case also marginal rate of substitution is 1. In each case we can see here marginal rate of substitution is 1. That means marginal rate of substitution is constant. So here indifference curve will be a straight line downward from left to right. Then here we want to understand a new concept, that is indifference map. The consumer's preferences overall the bundles can be represented by a family of indifference curves. The family of that indifference curve is known as indifference map. Here a group of indifference curves or a family of indifference curves, that is known as indifference map. If we are drawing a group of indifference curves on a same diagram, that map is known as indifference map. Then the another one, the important one, that is features of indifference curve. The first one, that is indifference curve slopes downward from left to right. Here in this diagram we can see this indifference curve, that is downward from left to right. the consumer is consuming two goods, that is bananas and mangoes. Here we can see the indifference curve is downward. What is the reason behind that? If the consumer want to increase or consume more units of bananas, he want to forego some units of mangoes. If the consumer want to use more and more units of bananas, at that time he want to forego more and more units of mangoes. Then the reason behind the downward sloping nature of the indifference curve, that is marginal rate of substitution. Then next one, that is higher indifference curves gives higher level of utility. Then we can explain this with the help of a table and a diagram. In this table we can see three combinations, that is A, B and C. Then in the second column we are representing quantities of bananas, and the third column we are representing quantities of mangoes. In the first combination, quantity of bananas, that is 1, and quantity of mangoes, that is 10. Here the consumer's demand for banana, that is fixed, 10 units, or he is consuming 10 units of mangoes in each case, and he is increasing the unit of bananas. At that time what is happening? In the combination A, he can consume 1 unit of banana and 10 units of mangoes. In the second case, quantity of mangoes, that is fixed at 10, but he can use 1 more unit of mangoes, that is 2. Then his satisfaction will increase. There is no change in the second commodity, but a unit of first commodity increasing, or he is consuming more units of first commodity while the units of second commodity remains as the same. So he will get more satisfaction. In the third combination C, here also quantity of mangoes, that is 10, but he can consume 3 units of bananas here. Then here consumption increases, as a result satisfaction also will increase. That we can represent in an indifference map. Here we can see 3 indifference maps, IC1, IC2 and IC3. IC1 representing the first combination 110, that is the lower indifference curve. When he is using 2 units of bananas and 10 units of mangoes, his satisfaction will increase. As a result, indifference curve will shift to upward. Then in the case of combination C, he can use 3 units of bananas and 10 units of mangoes. At that time he is consuming more goods, so satisfaction increases. At that time indifference curve will shift to upward. Then here we can see when consumption increases, satisfaction will increase. As a result, indifference curve will shift to upward. So higher and higher levels of indifference curve represents higher and higher levels of satisfaction. The next feature, the third feature, that is 2 indifference curves never intersect with each other. If 2 indifference curves intersect with each other, that will give us a conflict result. For explaining that, we can allow 2 indifference curves to intersect. Here in this diagram we can see 3 points A, B and C. A, B, these 2 points are on the same indifference curves. So these points A and B will give same level of satisfaction to the consumer. But the point C is on another indifference curves. So here satisfaction level is different. If these two indifference curves are intersecting with each other, then the satisfaction from point A, B and C are same. That is not possible. So, indifference curves will never intersect with each other, or it will not touch or cut with each other.